communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanzeeba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Biden announces strongest regulations yet to ensure safety of AI. Biden administration revamps its student debt forgiveness plan. Antony Blinken and Lloyd Austin testify as Senate grapples with Biden's security funding request. US military bulk buys Japanese seafood to counter China ban. FDA takes first step to protect children from medications that look and taste like candy. Matthew Perry's friends, castmates say his loss is utterly devastating. Israeli airstrike kills 50 at Gaza refugee camp. Israel shot down a ballistic missile fired from Yemen, US officials say. Afghans return to Taliban rule as Pakistan moves to expel 1.7 million. Japan announces sanctions on Hamas-related individuals' company. Pakistan beat Bangladesh by 7 wickets in ICC Cricket World Cup. Messi wins record 8th Ballon d'Or, Bonmati claims Women's Award. And police investigating the death of former NHL player Adam Johnson, whose neck was cut by a skate blade. You are listening to Headlines, now news in detail. President Joe Biden has issued a sweeping executive order to regulate the development of artificial intelligence amid growing concern about its potential impact on everything from national security to public health. To realize the promise of AI and avoid the risk, we need to govern this technology, Biden said on Thursday. In the wrong hands, AI can make it easier for hackers to exploit vulnerabilities in the software that makes our society run. The executive order includes a provision that developers of the most powerful AI models must notify the government of their work and share safety test results. It also calls on the National Institute of Standards and Technology to establish rigorous standards for testing AI prior to its release. The Department of Commerce to develop guidelines for identifying AI-generated content and agencies funding life science projects to establish strong new standards of biological synthesis screening to ensure AI cannot engineer biohazards. Biden also called on Congress to pass data privacy legislation and for the Department of Justice to address algorithmic discrimination among landlords and federal benefits programs. The Biden administration is proposing a new plan to forgive student debt months after the Supreme Court struck down President Joe Biden's sweeping pandemic-era debt relief plan in June. The Education Department on Monday released a student debt relief proposal that would target four categories of borrowers: those with federal student loan balances that exceed the original borrowed amount, those with loans that entered into repayment 25 years ago or more, those with loans for career training programs that led to unreasonable debt loads or provided insufficient earnings, and those who were eligible for forgiveness under other repayment plans but have not applied for it. The department also said it is considering student debt relief for a fifth group of borrowers experiencing financial hardship that the current student loan system does not currently adequately address. President Biden and I are committed to helping borrowers who have been failed by our country's broken and unaffordable student loan system, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said in a statement, adding that the aid would build upon $127 billion in loan forgiveness the administration has approved for about 3.6 million borrowers. We are fighting to ensure that student debt does not stand in the way of opportunity or prevent borrowers from realizing the benefits of their higher education, he said. The House and the Senate are at odds over how to proceed with President Joe Biden's sweeping funding request for foreign aid and national security goals. On Tuesday, the Senate sought to bolster its position of approving the measure in one package at a hearing called a review of the National Security Supplemental Request, where Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin made their case for the full spending measure. Their testimony before the Senate Appropriations Committee is expected to be critical in the Democratic-led Senate's crafting and passing a bill to respond to the administration's $105 billion request covering aid to Ukraine and Israel, efforts to contain China, and tougher border security in the U.S. This is all one fight, and we have to respond in a way that recognizes that, Blinken told the panel. If we start to pull off pieces of this package, they will see that and know we are playing whack-a-mole while they cooperate increasingly and pose an ever greater threat to our security and that of our allies and partners. Austin added bluntly that without U.S. support for Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin will be successful in acquiring his neighbor's sovereign territory. Their position found a warm reception in the Senate, where Appropriations Chair Patty Murray of Washington and Vice Chair Susan Collins of Maine backed the view that the provisions are connected and should be advanced together. The United States has started bulk buying Japanese seafood to supply its military there in response to China's ban on such products imposed after Tokyo released treated water from its crippled Fukushima nuclear plant into the sea. Unveiling the initiative in a Reuters interview on Monday, U.S. Ambassador to Japan Rahm Emanuel said Washington should also look more broadly into how it could help offset China's ban that he said was part of its economic wars. China, which had been the biggest buyer of Japanese seafood, says its ban is due to food safety fears. The UN's nuclear watchdog vouched for the safety of the water release that began in August from the plant wrecked by a 2011 tsunami. G7 trade ministers on Sunday called for the immediate repeal of bans on Japanese food. It's going to be a long-term contract between the U.S. Armed Forces and the fisheries and co-ops here in Japan, Emmanuel said. The best way we have proven in all the instances to kind of wear out Chinese economic coercion is come to the aid and assistance of the targeted country or industry, he said. Asked about Emmanuel's comments at a press conference on Monday, China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said the responsibility of diplomats is to promote friendship between countries rather than smearing other countries and stirring up trouble. Since 2019, there has been a spike in the number of children younger than 4 who were taken to the emergency room for ingesting gummy multivitamins and over-the-counter sleep aids like melatonin. That's why the Food and Drug Administration convened a meeting of experts Monday to discuss what exactly makes a drug candy-like. The experts, who included more than a dozen doctors, drug makers, and poison control center directors, noted that risks of candy-like drugs being accidentally ingested depended on taste, packaging, and how the products were formulated, such as chewable gummies versus hard tablets that must be swallowed. I have heard of situations where babysitters didn't know which are the gummies or which are the medications. Dr. Susan Dion, medical director of the Connecticut Poison Control Center and an assistant professor of emergency medicine at Yukon Health in Connecticut, said during the FDA meeting, making over-the-counter medications more appealing to children is not inherently a bad thing. Many children's medications don't taste very good, so drug makers have tweaked their products to improve the flavor so children will take them. Some of these products, however, may become so appealing that they run the risk of children eating them like they are candy, not drugs. Matthew Perry's friend's castmates on Monday called his death an unfathomable loss that has left them utterly devastated. We were more than just castmates. We are a family. Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer said in a joint statement, "There is so much to say, but right now we are going to take a moment to grieve and process this unfathomable loss. In time, we will say more, as and when we are able," the group continued. "For now, our thoughts and our love are with Matt's family, his friends, and everyone who loved him around the world." Perry died Saturday of an apparent drowning at his home in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles at age 54, a representative for Perry and a law enforcement source told media. A 911 call came in at 4:07 p.m. local time and was treated as a water rescue, Los Angeles Fire Captain Eric Scott said in a statement. The responders found an adult male unconscious in a stand-alone hot tub. A bystander had brought the man's head above the water and gotten him to the edge. Then firefighters removed him from the water upon their arrival, he said. A rapid medical assessment sadly revealed the man was deceased prior to first responder arrival. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BT Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. Israel said its forces fought Hamas gunmen inside the militant's vast tunnel network beneath Gaza, as a hospital director said more than 50 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a refugee camp in the besieged enclave. As the battle inside the tiny Hamas-ruled Palestinian territory intensified, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dismissed international calls for a halt to the fighting. but UN and other aid officials warned that a public health catastrophe was engulfing civilians in Gaza, with hospitals struggling to cope with mounting casualties and food, medicine, drinking water, and fuel running short. The director of Gaza's Indonesian hospital told media that more than 50 Palestinians were killed and 150 wounded in Israeli airstrikes on a densely populated area of the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli military. The tunnels under the cramped enclave are a prime objective for Israel as it expands a four-day-old ground offensive after 3 weeks of aerial bombardment into Gaza from the north to hit Hamas in retaliation for the Islamist group's deadly surprise attack into southern Israel on October 7. Militants believed to be Houthi rebels fired a medium-range ballistic missile from Yemen toward Israel on Tuesday, according to two U.S. officials. In a statement, the Israel Defense Forces said the missile was intercepted by Israel's Arrow air defense system, which was jointly developed by Israel and the US. The IDF confirmed that a surface-to-surface missile had been fired toward Israeli territory from the direction of the Red Sea, but nor did specify whether it had originated in Yemen. The US official said the missile, which had a range of 2,000 kilometers or more, did not threaten US Navy ships in the Red Sea or US troops or personnel in the area. On October 19, a US Navy warship shot down multiple drones and 3 cruise missiles that were fired from Yemen and heading potentially towards Israel, a Defense Department spokesman said. Japan has imposed a fresh set of sanctions on individuals and a company connected to the Gaza-based fighter group Hamas, according to a statement released by the Japanese Foreign Ministry on Tuesday. The sanctions consist of freezing the assets of individuals and a company that have helped fund Hamas, and is in line with new sanctions announced by the United States government earlier this month. It is the first set of sanctions Japan has imposed on Hamas since its deadly rampage on October 7 that Israeli authorities say killed over 1,400 people. Individuals including Hamas operatives Muhammad Ahmad Abdul al-Daim Nasrallah and Ayman Nofal were newly added to the list of people and organizations deemed as terrorists by Japan. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 14,919.20. The NYSE Composite is increased by 93.31 points or 0.63%. Tokyo stock close price is 30,858.85. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 161.89 points or 0.53%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,018.77. The Shanghai index is decreased by 2.78 points or 0.09%. Hong Kong stock close price is 17,112.48. The Hang Seng index is decreased by 293.88 points or 1.69%. Bombay stock close price is 63,874.93. The Sensex index is decreased by 237.72 points or 0.37%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Pakistan have kept alive their slim hopes of qualifying for the semi-finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup by defeating Bangladesh by 7 wickets, thanks to an opening partnership of 100 runs between Abdullah Shafiq and Fakhar Zaman. Zaman marked his return to the side with a belligerent knock of 81 runs as Pakistan chased the target of 205 in 32.3 overs at Eden Gardens in Kolkata on Tuesday. Earlier, Pakistan's pace bowlers combined to take 8 wickets as Bangladesh were dismissed for 204 runs in 45.1 overs. Electing to bat, Bangladesh could never really recover from a top-order collapse as Pakistan's three-pronged pace attack impressed with the new ball and were equally effective in the death overs, with only Mahmudullah managing a half-century for Bangladesh. The defeat, Bangladesh's sixth, has ended Shakib Al Hasan's team's hopes of qualifying for the semi-finals. Bangladesh have only won one match in the tournament. Pakistan have now won 3 matches from their 7 and still have a mathematical chance of qualifying. Lionel Messi won the 8th Ballon d'Or of his remarkable career, while Spain's World Cup winning star Aitana Bonmati took the women's prize at a glittering ceremony in Paris. For Messi, the trophy awarded to him on Monday rewards, above all else, his inspirational performances at last year's World Cup in Qatar, when he dragged Argentina to victory, scoring 7 goals and being named the tournament's best player. It was the crowning moment of his astonishing career, and it allowed him to see off stiff competition, in particular from Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe, to take the award on the stage of the Châtelet Theatre in Paris. It was a return to the French capital after he departed from Paris Saint-Germain in June and his subsequent move to Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. Messi thanked his Argentina coach, teammates and staff for making his victory possible. "Tonight I am enjoying myself. It's a pleasure that will never leave me, and I hope to be able to enjoy it for many years to come," Messi said through a translator. "Becoming world champion was the title we were missing. I would like to thank everyone who helped make Argentina the world champion team." Messi dedicated the trophy to late Argentina legend Diego Maradona, who would have celebrated his 63rd birthday on Monday. Police are investigating the death of American ice hockey player Adam Johnson after his neck was cut by a skate blade in a game in England. Johnson was playing for the Nottingham Panthers at the Sheffield Steelers when he suffered the skate cut in a Champions Cup game on Saturday. He died at a hospital. He was a Minnesota native who appeared in a total of 13 NHL games with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2019 and 2020. Our officers remain at the scene carrying out inquiries, and our investigation into the circumstances surrounding the incident remain ongoing, South Yorkshire Police said on Monday. "We would encourage the public to avoid speculation regarding the incident while we continue our inquiries." The English Ice Hockey Association, which governs the sport below the Elite League, reacted to Johnson's death by requiring all players in England to wear neck guards from the start of 2024. Neck guards will be mandatory from January 1 for all on-ice activities. The EIHA gave on Monday its strong recommendation that all players start wearing a neck guard, effective immediately. It said neck guards would not be mandatory immediately because of anticipated supply issues. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. Before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. Biden announces strongest regulations yet to ensure safety of AI. Biden administration revamps its student debt forgiveness plan. Antony Blinken and Lloyd Austin testify as Senate grapples with Biden's security funding request. U.S. military bulk buys Japanese seafood to counter China ban. FDA takes first step to protect children from medications that look and taste like candy. Matthew Perry's friends, castmates say his loss is utterly devastating. Israeli airstrike kills 50 at Gaza refugee camp. Israel shot down a ballistic missile fired from Yemen, US officials say. Afghans return to Taliban rule as Pakistan moves to expel 1.7 million. Japan announces sanctions on Hamas-related individuals' company. Pakistan beat Bangladesh by 7 wickets in ICC Cricket World Cup. Messi wins record 8th Ballon d'Or, Bonmati claims Women's Award. And police investigating the death of former NHL player Adam Johnson, whose neck was cut by a skate blade. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our website. Our website address is www.millenniumnews24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.